Working from home is clearly better than working in an office.
Well, I completely disagree.
Welcome to The Debate. This is the Epic Friday debate. I am Taylor, and I am your host for today. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. Today, I am going to stand up for the modern way of working. I am here to defend comfort, autonomy, and the freedom to control your own life. I truly believe that working from home is the future.
And hello, everyone. I am Jordan. I am joining in today to, look at the other side of the coin. I view this differently. I believe in the power of real human connection. I believe in structure and shared energy. I am here to argue that the traditional office is still the best place for us to do our best work.
Today, we are discussing a topic that touches almost everyone who works at a desk. The topic is home versus office. It is, frankly, the biggest professional divide of our time. Everyone seems to have a side.
That is right. It is a huge topic. I have noticed that people do not just have opinions on this, they have very strong emotions about it. We're going to discuss this based on our own experiences and what we have observed in our careers.
Exactly. We are not going to use complex business jargon today. We want to keep this conversation clear, honest, and accessible. We want to dig into the strongest arguments for both sides.
Right. We will start by laying out our core opinions, why we feel the way we do. Then we will move into a challenge round where we push back on each other's ideas a bit harder.
Let us jump right in. As I said, I am a huge advocate for working from home. For me, it starts with the environment.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean by environment?
Control. When I am at home, I control every aspect of my surroundings. In an office, you have no control. The lights are too bright, the air conditioning is too cold, the chair just isn't quite right. At home, I have built a space that is perfectly designed for me.
So it is mostly about physical comfort for you?
It is more than just being comfortable. It is about focus. When I am comfortable, I can think clearly. If I'm shivering because the office is freezing, or if I have a headache from the fluorescent lights, I cannot do my best work. At home, I have my coffee, my window, and my silence. It puts me in a state of flow immediately.
I see your point about comfort. But is that enough to abandon the office entirely?
It is not just the chair, it is the time. This is my second major point, the commute. Think about the sheer amount of life we waste traveling to work.
It is a significant amount of time. I admit that.
It is huge. In my experience, commuting is not just a waste of time, it is a waste of energy. You wake up early, you rush to get ready, you sit in traffic or stand on a crowded bus. By the time you actually sit at your desk in the office, you are already tired, you are stressed before the day has even begun.
That is a fair observation. Traffic is terrible.
When I work from home, my commute is 10 seconds. I walk from my bedroom to my desk. I start my day fresh. I have high energy. I can use that extra hour in the morning to exercise or read or just sleep a little longer. That makes me a happier person and a happier worker.
That is a compelling argument. Saving time is always a benefit.
It leads directly to my third point, productivity. I find that I'm simply faster at home. In an office, there are constant interruptions. People stop by your desk to chat about the weather. Phones ring. People have loud meetings nearby.
And at home?
At home, it is just me and the work. I can turn off my notifications and focus deeply for 3 or 4 hours. I can finish a project in half the time it would take me in an office because nobody is tapping me on the shoulder.
Okay. You have made some strong points. You value environmental control, saving energy on the commute, and the ability to focus without interruption. Now let me tell you why I disagree. I come at it from a different angle.
Please, go ahead. I am listening.
For me, the office is superior because of communication. Nothing, and I mean nothing, beats face-to-face interaction.
But we have video calls, we have chat apps, we have email.
It is not the same. Let me give you a real example from my own experience. If I have a complex problem in the office, I can stand up, walk to your desk, point at the screen, and we can solve it in 2 minutes.
You can do that online too?
Can you? If we are at home, I have to type out a long email explaining the context. Then I wait for you to read it.
You might misunderstand my tone, then we send 5 more emails back and forth. Or we have to schedule a video call, but you are free at 2 o'clock and I am free at 3. A 2-minute problem becomes a 3-hour ordeal.
That is an interesting point, though. I would frame it differently, but please continue with your position.
My second point is about structure. I believe human beings need a clear separation of places. We need routine.
I have a routine at home. I wake up at the same time every day.
Is it a psychological routine, though? When I go to the office, I have a physical ritual. I shower, I put on professional clothes, I leave the house. That physical movement tells my brain, okay, it is time to be a professional. When I walk into the office building, I switch modes.
And you do not think you can do that at home?
I think it is much harder. When you work in your living room, the line is blurry. You might work in your pajamas, you might check emails while watching TV. The office provides a boundary that keeps us disciplined.
I understand that perspective.
And finally, there's the most important thing: teamwork and culture. You simply cannot build a strong culture over a screen.
Why not?
Because relationships are built in the moments between the work. In the office, we grab lunch together. We laugh at a joke in the hallway. We notice if a colleague looks sad or stressed, and we ask them if they are okay. You miss all of that human connection at home. You are just a face in a box on a screen.
Thank you for clearly outlining your position. You value the speed of direct communication, the mental structure of going to a place, and the human connection that happens in person.
Exactly. That is the core of it.
Now, let us move to the challenge round. This is where we need to dig a little deeper. I want to challenge you on something you just said.
I am ready.
You talked about human connection. You said working from home makes you just a face on a screen. But I want to talk about the reality of that connection. Do you not think that offices can be incredibly distracting? You call it connection, but I call it noise.
I am sorry, but I just do not buy that. Let me tell you why. Distraction is a part of life, yes. But isolation is much, much worse.
Isolation?
Yes. Working from home is lonely. I have observed this in many friends. When they first start working from home, they love it. But after 6 months, they start to feel disconnected. They feel like they do not belong to a team. They are just completing tasks.
I see your point, but let me give you a different perspective. Yes, it can be quiet, but for me, that quiet is peaceful, not lonely. And regarding isolation, working from home gives me the flexibility to have a real social life.
What do you mean by a real social life?
I mean that my social life should not be forced on me by my employer. Because I work from home, I can finish my work efficiently. Then I have the energy to go see my actual friends. I can have lunch with my partner. I can pick up my kids. That is the connection that matters.
So you're saying you do not need work friends?
I am saying I prefer to choose my social interactions. The office forces you to socialize with people just because you sit next to them. At home, I curate my social time.
I am not convinced by that line of reasoning. We spend 8 hours a day working. That is a third of our lives. If you spend that time alone, you are missing out on a huge part of the human experience. But let me turn the table. I want to challenge you on the topic of work-life balance.
Go ahead.
You mentioned flexibility. You said you can pick up your kids or see your partner. But I feel that working from home actually destroys work-life balance.
How so? In my experience, it is the only thing that saves it.
I think it blurs the lines too much. When your office is in your house, you never truly leave work. You sleep where you work. You eat where you work. The computer is always there, staring at you.
That is a valid concern if you do not have discipline.
It is not just discipline. It is psychology. When I go to the office, I leave at 5 p.m. I physically walk out the door. I leave my stress in the building. When I get home, my home is a sanctuary. It is a place of rest. If I work from home, my home becomes a factory. Do you not miss that separation?
That is a compelling argument, but have you considered that the office schedule is incredibly rigid?
Rigid in what way?
In an office, you have to be there at 9 a.m. even if you do not have work to do immediately. You have to stay until 5 p.m. even if you finished everything at 3 p.m. That is performative. It is just acting.
And at home?
At home, I work based on results. If I finish my work at 3 p.m., I close my laptop and I go for a walk. I can manage my own stress. If I am feeling overwhelmed, I can step outside for 10 minutes. You cannot do that in an office without people judging you.
I see what you mean. The office does require you to be seen working, but I would argue that structure helps some people. It creates a clear boundary.
Let us shift back to communication styles. You mentioned earlier that face-to-face is faster and clearer.
I did. I stand by that.
You said online communication is slow, but I would argue that office communication is often lazy.
Lazy? That's a strong word.
I mean that people interrupt you because they're too lazy to find the answer themselves. In a remote setting, people have to write things down. They have to document processes. This creates a clear record. In an office, information just floats around in conversations. If you were not in the room, you missed it.
I come at it from a different way. I think writing everything down kills creativity.
How does it kill creativity?
Because the best ideas often happen by accident. You bump into someone at the coffee machine. You start talking about a project. Suddenly, you have a new idea. You cannot schedule that kind of creativity on a video call.
That is true. Accidents like that are harder online.
And think about tone. You might send a message that you think is neutral, but the other person reads it and thinks you are angry. Without body language, without voice, we lose so much nuance.
I admit that happens. Text can be cold.
In the office, I can see your face. I can see if you are stressed or happy immediately. I can adjust how I speak to you. That is emotional intelligence, and it is very hard to practice over text or email.
I see your point. We clearly have different priorities here. I prioritize the autonomy and focus of the home environment. I want to own my day.
And I prioritize the energy and clarity of the shared environment. I want to be part of a team physically.
That is a fair summary. I think both sides have merit depending on your personality.
I agree. It really depends on how your brain works.
Absolutely. Now, listening to us argue, you might be wondering which side is right. But we want to turn this conversation to you, the listener.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
The core question today is simple. Do you prefer home or office?
And more importantly, why? Is it because you hate the commute, or is it because you feel lonely at home?
We have a small challenge for you in the comments section. We used a lot of polite disagreement phrases today.
We did. It is actually hard work to disagree politely.
We want you to write a comment using one polite disagreement phrase. For example, you could say, I see your point about the office, but I prefer home because...
Or you could say, that is a compelling argument for working from home, but I need the structure of the office.
Try to use these phrases. It is a great way to practice sounding natural in English.
Before we finish, can we reflect for a moment on the language we used?
Sure. What stood out to you?
It was actually quite difficult for me to stay polite when you said the office was just noise. I wanted to interrupt you.
I noticed that, but you did not. You used a specific phrase instead.
Right. I took a breath and said, I am sorry, but I just do not buy that. It gave me a second to calm down, and it told you I disagreed without being aggressive.
Exactly. And when you attacked my work-life balance, I had to use a softening phrase too. I said, that is a valid concern.
Why did you use that phrase?
Because I wanted you to know that I heard you. If I just say, no, you are wrong, it shuts down the conversation. By saying, that is a valid concern, I validate your feeling, but then I can pivot to my own argument.
It really changes the tone, does it not? It makes it a debate, not a fight.
It does. And I also used, in my experience, a lot.
That is a great one. It protects you. You are not stating a universal fact. You are just sharing your personal truth. It is much harder for someone to attack your personal experience.
We hope you noticed those little tools we used. They are very powerful in real life.
So, as we wrap up, do we have a winner?
I do not think so. I'm going to stay right here in my home office. I love my quiet space too much.
And I am going to keep going into the office. I need that morning routine and the coffee with colleagues.
And that is perfectly okay. There is no single correct answer.
Both styles have pros and cons.
It depends on your job, your personality, and your lifestyle.
Exactly. The goal of this debate was not to declare a winner. It was to explore the different perspectives, to understand why someone might choose differently than we do.
And I think we did that. It was a pleasure debating with you today.
Likewise, thank you for bringing your perspective. It challenged me to think about isolation in a new way.
To our listeners, please do not forget to comment. We really want to read your thoughts.
And if you want to study the vocabulary from this episode, there is a debate handout available in the description.
It has all the polite phrases we used today. It is very useful.
Join us again for the next Epic Friday debate. We will have a new topic and new arguments.
Until then, keep practicing your English and keep debating respectfully.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.